Hey guys, welcome to FoundFlix. So in today's world of remakes, reboots, and sequels, there is one that was supposed to come out this year I was genuinely excited for. The new Friday the 13th. It feels like the 13th installment has been in production hell forever, with the decent reboot in 2009 being the last time Jason was on the big screen. But it seemed like things had finally moved into place this time, and we had a set release date of October 13th this year. So everything had to be coming together to hit that release date, one would assume. But as of yesterday, that is no longer the case, as Paramount removed Friday the 13th from the release schedule entirely. At first, everyone was speculating it might just be delayed, but no, this is much more severe, as production was shut down indefinitely. As in, the movie they were planning to make has probably been completely scrapped. This is insane, as the movie was 6 weeks away from going into production. It's taken years for them to actually give a release date, and it seemed like we were finally going to get a new Friday the 13th. We had a script by Prisoner's Aaron Guzikowski with The Stranger's Breck Eisner directing, but obviously they did the new genius thing in Hollywood of giving a movie a release date when they have nothing done for it whatsoever. So once that date is announced, everyone has to quickly scramble to put something together just so they can hit the release. But by this point, production was moving forward in earnest to film this spring. So what happened exactly? What could be blamed for Paramount's sudden cold feet again? Well, I and many others have speculated that the cause can be traced to one thing: the release of Rings last weekend. The movie did middling numbers at the box office, making $13 million on a $25 million budget. But worse than the box office numbers were the reviews. They tore the movie apart, to some extent deservedly so, and it's sitting at a 7% on Rotten Tomatoes. That's pretty terrible, even for a movie like this, which doesn't usually get great reviews. It's easy to see how Paramount can be concerned by the response of Rings, which was a soft reboot in a long-dormant horror franchise, just like their Friday the 13th would have been. But to me, the similarities between the two end there, and it was stupid of them to cancel if indeed due to Rings' reception. Rings and Friday the 13th are very different franchises with little to do with each other beyond both being horror, because Rings, as well as the other two US The Ring films, are PG-13. Meanwhile, every Friday the 13th has been rated R. So while both fall under horror, they still have quite different audiences. And Friday the 13th has been around for 30 years with 12 entries, and is a way more sturdy franchise than The Ring, which only has 2 previous movies, and only the first one, The Ring, was really successful. I mean, Friday the 13th even managed to survive Jason Takes Manhattan, for God's sakes. So no, Jason and The Ring are not in the same category at all. Also, Rings has been in the can for a while now, shooting back in 2015, and then moved around the schedule several times, indicating that the studio knew it was a stinker, but they had made the movie, so they had to release it eventually to try to make some of their money back. And while I don't know the specifics of the Friday the 13th script, it had to be better than Rings, right? I mean, just by chance alone, it would probably have to be better. I'm sure they probably had Jason kill a bunch of people and stuff. What else do you really need? Okay, and if we do believe it was due to Rings that Friday the 13th was canceled, Paramount are a bunch of wusses. Are any other of the dozens of horror remakes and sequels coming out this year suddenly pulling the plug? I don't think so. It is still coming out, Jeepers Creepers 3 is still in production, the new Chucky, whatever. They are all still happening. They didn't freak out because Rings didn't do well. And the whole thing is, if you're even bothering to make a movie in the first place and spend millions of dollars, you have to believe that the movie is good, right? Or at least worth all the money and effort. Of course. So maybe Paramount started getting worried when they realized that their new Friday the 13th wasn't as strong as it needed to be. And there's a good possibility of that being the case due to forcing their own hand with a set release date. They didn't have enough time to actually put something worthwhile together. Now, they actually have had years and years to make a new one, but each incarnation, like the found footage version or the TV series, eventually fell apart. So it seems that Paramount simply can't figure out a worthwhile, in their opinion, way to reinvigorate the franchise. I can understand that it's tough to come up with something new and creative for the 13th entry in a franchise, but not that hard in this case. And honestly, they would be foolish to stray too far from what fans expect from the series anyway. Just make a darker, more hardcore take on the character with plenty of gore and blood. That's it. Doesn't have to be a masterpiece, nor do we expect it to be. We just want to be entertained and watch Jason stab the hell out of some horny teenagers. And really, it can't take almost a decade to figure this shit out. Come on, Paramount. The one good thing in my mind to come out of this is that Paramount loses the rights in 2018 and they revert back to New Line. And you know they are gonna be like, boom, new Jason movie coming out for Halloween 2018 and actually make it happen. They're probably way more willing to just get the new movie out there rather than making us wait forever for some magical, perfect incarnation. Because you know what? It's never gonna happen, but all we know for now is that we'll be going another year without a new Friday the 13th movie, and as one of the biggest franchises in horror history, as well as one of my own personal favorites, this is a huge disappointment. Oh well, at least there's still a billion other remakes and sequels to keep us occupied. And also with this news, I can't help but wonder if we'll be hearing about the new Halloween also getting delayed. It just seems more likely to happen to me now, as we still have literally zero information at this point on what that movie is as well. On the other hand, maybe with Jason out of the way, they'll be more willing to get their shit together and get the movie out so we can at least have the return of one of horror's biggest icons this year. Alright guys, what do you think of Friday the 13th getting canceled? Do you maybe think it was actually good news? And do you think it's even possible to make a satisfying new Jason movie at this point? Let me know your thoughts in the comments below. Thanks for watching FoundFlix. See you next time.